my man got too familiar, and I ended up having to whip his ass, man, because, he would step across the line. Habitually. He's a habitual line stepper.
All right, guys, we're recording.
Okay. So we were talking,
ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. God.
You need to. Listen. Hold on. You just need to have You just need to have a thing that you do that lets people know that you're about to do the thing that you do.
I think we should have the Mario Kart countdown.
How about this?
I just took him saying, "Hey, we're recording," as that thing.
That's what you do.
So from here on,
I don't know that though. It needs to be.
All right, so you know what? From here on, when he says, "Hey, we're recording,"
no, I have a suggestion. Okay. Whenever you're ready to start, say, "All right, guys, I'm about to do the intro right now."
All right, guys, I'm about to do the intro right now. It sounds like I need your approval.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we say okay, go?
Right?
we're good. That you listen, yeah, our approval is our silence. You know what I mean?
All right, guys. Well, so welcome to the podcast where we don't have our shit together, and this happens every episode. So
maybe it's whatever.
It's good luck. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the HLS podcast, also known as Late to the Party, also known as That Point, podcast that never was, name pendant. I'm the Rebel Alliance.
I'm Scrotowola.
And this is Electric Thunder.
It's been a while, guys. It's been quite some time.
Yeah, it's been at least 2 weeks.
I actually recorded an episode. I think it's felt like it's been 3.
Probably 3, because I did have my my PC packed up for a week before.
But you, the viewers, won't know because we are smart.
Yeah.
We had stacked our ammo.
Not viewers yet. Yeah, they're gonna be viewers one day. Yeah. To that point, it's been a minute, and a lot has happened. I like that we all went out to the movies recently. On my birthday.
Yeah. Which I would love to talk about in a little.
Yeah, we could do that. We could definitely talk about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But essentially, what we were talking about though was like various aspects of culture, and in my opinion, those were things of, you even call it cultural appropriation, and the like, appropriation sounds almost as like, oh, no one asked you to, but you gently took on this aspect of a culture, whereas like, people just straight up jack the N-word and they want to say it so bad. Bro, you were talking Electric, you were talking about what was the thing you were saying? The Delroy Lindo?
The who?
There's a scene from a movie that you were, there's a scene from a movie that you were mentioning.
Today?
Where he's being interviewed.
Oh, I love that. See, I did not know that was a movie or a show. I thought that was a real clip. That was super convincing. So he's basically being interviewed, and one of the hosts is like, "It's not fair that we can't say the N-word," and then he just interjects and he goes, "Then say it. Go ahead, say it. You know what? Matter of fact, I'll say it with you. Come on." And he's like, "I can't say that. I can't." And they're like, "Come on, you're being ridiculous now." That
because he wasn't giving a pass, he was challenging him to do it.
That was gold. He was like, "You can say it. This is America." I was like, I always saw the reel. I've seen that reel like at least 10 times. I always thought that was a real show. Like they were on live television and this had happened. I did not know this was a movie or a show.
If you saw that and thought it was real, I would be like, "Yo, when did that happen?" And I would like try to figure out like what show that was. Right?
How amazing of an actor he is.
Yeah, he definitely is. And the other guys too. They did just as well because they looked like they were shitting their pants.
Mm-hmm.
But
from a show called The Good Fight, season 2, episode 6, supposedly.
So you did say something interesting, and this happens to everyone. We take whatever we see at face value. I mean, so many people see something and believe it instantly. Believe it happened. Believe it was real without doing any kind of research into it. And I think that
video,
a symptom of everything being so fast. You look at one video for 20 seconds, and sometimes the video, for me at least, sometimes the videos don't even finish, and I get bored, and I'm like, next. And I just go to the next. And I'm pretty sure there's so many other people with such a short attention span now, thanks to social media.
After the 4th or fifth story that I've like just scrolled, I'm like, yo, what are you doing? You're not watching anything. Stop and go watch something. If you're going to watch something, go watch something, because I'm not going to receive anything from a short or whatever that's going to give me a story. Now, I'm not saying shorts are like bad, because like we use shorts to like advertise a show, or we're advertising. I want you to see the show and be like, that was funny, and then we go check the show out. So it's like, they're like advertisements for something, but I'm not going to get anything unless it's, I'm not going to get anything from the short itself, but maybe that's just me. I did want to start off this talk with a story. We all play a game called Overwatch here, and as much as Brent doesn't like to admit it, he does too. And we all play this game called Overwatch, and every like 2 years they do this collaboration with a K-pop group called La Seraphim. Now, the first time they did this, I didn't know who these people were. I don't listen to K-pop. I'm like, what is this? This is nonsense, whatever. And then over time, like, I love this group. They're great. The music is good. And I started really getting into K-pop as a whole. Mostly the female groups, not the male groups, just not really my style. And I was trying to figure out why. And I realized that a lot of the K-pop that I was gravitating towards was just essentially just straight up 90s black R&B girl groups, like just straight up. And this group, La Seraphim in particular, stood out to me because they, like in their first album, they got Nile Rodgers, who is the lead guitarist on La Chic. Is that it, Brent?
Yep.
The She Freak Out people. Yeah. He's the lead guitarist there. He got their daughter helped them like write the first song on their second album. He played the guitar on like their hit single. Like on their third album, they basically did like a trap song with like a lot of LA like beats and artists. They always use black choreographers. They use a bunch of reggaeton in one of their most popular songs, a straight up reggaeton song. And then like an album or two ago, whatever, they had a song that was an Afrobeat song. And I had like defended this group a lot because I'm like, yo, like there's a girl who's from Los Angeles who like is clearly injecting a lot of like culture from like African-American like stuff into this group. And they seem to do a good job of giving credit to where these things come from. You know what I mean? And like, and you could tell they're actually doing their homework on it. And my wife was like,
Now,
you know,
Rogers
doing
got
their homework.
I mean, at the same time, Nile Rodgers got a check, so
That's incredibly specific, Nile Rodgers. That's very specific. But she was like, nah, they're just jacking the culture. They're just jacking the culture. They're doing their homework because it's manufactured. And I really like this group, so I'm like, nah, it's not true. But then they made this Afrobeat song, and I was like, yo, first of all, I don't like the song because I don't think it's a good song. But in the video, it's very Afrobeats and also like Afro-Caribbean, and there's like a bunch of like really like maybe 2-story tall murals that are all painted by all black artists, right? Black and Caribbean artists, right? And this is not mentioned in the video. They're not making any big hoopla about it, but they went out of their way to get only black artists in there. And then they like release a clothing line for every album they come out with. And then the clothing line they came out with in Korea, they released one of the models was like, I guess she's from somewhere in Central Africa because she was very, very dark. And there was a big backlash on their social media and stuff like that. Super racist, saying like, oh, well, keep K-pop Korean, which is crazy because like it's just R&B. And then also blacks aren't wanted in K-pop and stuff like that. And I was like, well, I was kind of expected because, crazy racist. But like, I expected the group to say something or do something because they've always been very like making it a point to use black culture in their music and also credit it as well, too. So I was expecting them, and at least the American would be like, yo, shut up. They all, F you, racist, you racist, and I don't want you to be a fan of mine, or something like that. No, nothing happened. Super quiet. The next single they had was called Crazy, and that's the one that is in Overwatch right now, the little emotes and stuff. The whole song is black gay ballroom from like the 80s, voguing and stuff. And all of the choreographers, all of the dancers, all of the extra, every single person in this very large production of a music video is black. All of them.
So that leads me to ask the question, with everything you just said, is it homage or is it exploitation?
Well, I had this question and I was like, okay, well, they didn't say anything. So there's two sides I'm hearing to this. Like, they didn't say anything because they want to inject themselves into it. And when it was very inconvenient to stand up for black people, they didn't. So they didn't say anything. And then the other side was like, no, like they didn't say anything because probably they would have like got jacked up and their sales would went to crap. But like they came back even blacker for the very next release. So it's like, oh, you don't like black people? We're going to put black people all in your face. And I think depending on like what your bias is, you might lean or gravitate towards one thing or the other. But it's like you said, what that makes me say, okay, well, what is cultural appropriation? How do you define it? And then at what point in time do you cross that line from homage to just straight up jacking? Like, how would you?
And also that before we even get that example for me also has like I said, the rub is like at the same time, all these black folks are getting a check because they're getting this K-pop money because this group is just, blackwashing all of their.
It was very black, bro.
Like, all of their content. And again, definitely appropriation. I mean,
is it definitely appropriation? Like, what is appropriation? Define it without looking up a definition, because I haven't looked up one either.
I haven't looked up one yet. I'm definitely gonna look up.
Yeah, we're going to, because we're do our due diligence. But like off the top of your head, like, what do you think that is?
I think whenever there's money,
culture.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no. You good? You were what you were about to say. Go ahead.
I think whenever there's music there's a corporation behind it. Whenever there's a corporation behind anything, it's going to be appropriation because they are in the business of making money. They're not doing it for any other reason other than to make money. So I see it as appropriation.
No, but that's an example of appropriation. What's your definition of appropriation?
Taking another culture and using it as your own identity for you to either gain popularity, clout, money, or even trying to boost your own self-love in some sort of way by claiming to be something else.
Claiming to be it?
Yeah.
So
You can
an affirmative act.
wait. I mean, you can let me gather my thoughts. Hold on. Let me
No, it's hard. You're doing great. Like, this is a hard question to answer, I think.
So my mom, all right, first and foremost, my mom is she's mentally ill. But I've seen my mom like speak with my Jamaican neighbor. And all of a sudden my mom would switch and have a Jamaican accent when she's speaking with her. Mm-hmm. And I remember growing up, I'd be like, Mom, what are you doing? Like, I'd be like, yo, you can't be just like switching your accent. You don't have a Jamaican accent. She goes, what are you talking about? And I'm like, you're speaking with a Jamaican accent to our Jamaican neighbor. What are you doing? And she tell me that she's not doing that. But then the next day they'll be talking and she's doing it again. And I'm like, Ma, you're doing it again. Stop doing that. And then also like at times, like she loves like Indian culture. So like she would turn on Indian music and like she does what she thinks is Indian dances. Like she'll like do stuff with her fingers and she's not making fun of it. Like she's really vibing with it. And like if someone brought her like the dresses and, I don't know what the
over the moon.
The clothing. Yeah, she'd totally be over the moon. So, even though my mother is not, I think it is because she didn't grow up. She didn't grow up. Now, I think it's an appreciation for it as well. But I think appropriation is like when you're not from a certain culture, you kind of adapt it to your own.
Well, she's not walking around like she's Indian, or she's not walking around like she's Jamaican. It's a specific instance. I'm Nigerian. I don't speak with a Nigerian accent. When I go to Nigeria in 2 weeks, I will speak with a Nigerian accent because that's how people understand me. Right. And we code switch all the time. We all got black.
Yeah,
we got minorities. We code switch. Like, I don't think that's appropriation. I think that's just a thing that people do from time. But there is a limit to when it's like, okay, bro, that's not code switching. You're putting on a black accent. You know what I'm saying? So do you think that with that definition, do you think that it's possible to like give props to a community without appropriating? Because I think we all can understand that. I think we all probably agree that appropriation, if we have to label it good or bad, is in the bad category, right?
Yeah.
And to that point.
Yeah, go ahead. I spoke enough.
No, go ahead.
If it's in the form of gaining any kind of clout or money, I think it's a appropriation if you're doing it strictly for that and not for the love of it. Like, say for instance,
What your mom's doing wasn't appropriation then.
you know what? I take it back. It's not. Yeah, because she's not gaining anything from it. It's something that makes her feel good for one reason or another.
It might even be a little misguided too, right? With the fingers and stuff like that, but like it's still okay.
She sees the Bollywood movies and
she's trying to emulate it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
now
I think just give a rough definition of, or just a bootleg definition of cultural appropriation. I think it's when you take the traits, aspects of another people as your own without acknowledgement of where it came from and beyond mere appreciation and into mimicry or purpose of disassociating it from that people.
Okay, that was a lot of pieces.
I don't know.
What I got. No, I know. And like I said, it's a hard question to answer, right? So I got,
because there's so many fine lines.
I got taken as your own. I got without giving. So I'm trying to read, and you let me know if I got this. Taken as your own without giving credit to a point that's past appreciation, and then the fourth thing I lost.
Me too. I don't listen to myself.
So even if we take those three, then it's a funnel, right? So it's like as long as you don't do one of those things, you're okay. Is that what you're saying? Like if I take it as my own, but I give credit to it, and I do it way past appreciation to where it's weird,
and you don't
because I gave credit, but because I gave credit to it, is it okay?
I think once you do any of those three, you're like one strike, you're out.
So it's a multi-part statement.
Yeah, because I think without crossing any of those lines, you are in something else. You know what I mean? Like, if you appreciate it, but you haven't done it past, you haven't done it past appreciation.
What's that? Where's that line? What is that?
Past appreciation?
Yeah.
I think when it becomes, the last thing that I said, which is disassociated from those people that it comes from. So for instance, my wife is Dominican. And so in my attempt to learn Spanish to better communicate with her side of the family, I find myself often flipping in and out of Spanish and English and Spanish. But to that point, I try to only do it with people that know I'm trying to learn Spanish, so that I'm not just speaking to, like, I have coworkers that are in Colombia. I'm not just out of nowhere being like, oh, sí, gracias, pero, because one, it's like they're fluent in English. I don't need to speak Spanish to them. And two, that's not like part of me in my background. It's just something that I learn. And part of the reason I'm trying to learn it is because I want to pass it. I want my kids to speak Spanish because that is part of who they are.
But isn't that part of your background then? Like if you weren't married, you're married to a Dominican woman, have Dominican kids.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where
you wouldn't be doing those things.
Yeah, same thing. I know Japanese people, but I don't just bust out Japanese to them too.
I'm married to a Japanese woman with Japanese kids.
And props to you, man.
Exactly.
For even trying to learn Spanish.
I mean, yeah, like, my father-in-law he's an awesome dude. And he also is hilarious. I can tell he's way funnier in Spanish. I want to know those jokes.
He looks funny.
And also, I swear he cracks the best jokes because he cracks great jokes in English. Because I'm like,
he looks like a storyteller.
He's a great storyteller.
Yeah.
And to that point, like, props to him. Like, I love him so much. I probably haven't really expressed that to him as a language barrier, but that's part of it. I want to break down the language. Anyway, so because the Dominican culture, since I've been so immersed in it, I'm like up on a lot of jokes and a lot of aspects of the culture, but I wouldn't mimic those beyond a certain point if not for someone that can appreciate why I'm doing it. Because beyond that, then it's just me appropriating their culture.
You're still a guest in the house.
Exactly. I'm still a guest in the house.
So then,
and I think
sorry, go ahead.
I think that line is very, very rooted in the purpose. You know what I mean?
The why.
So, like, exactly the why it's being done. You were going to say something.
Said it's monetary, right? You're saying no, it's not monetary, and then I'll let you get back because, well, no, I think he said it was monetary, and then. Does what his mother does count as appropriation in your lens?
The Bollywood thing, yeah, like
it does.
He was saying that she's like legit mimicking the culture.
Like when she's dancing and stuff.
Yeah, when she's at home in her private.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
chilling.
Yeah, if it's just to herself, that's fine. Like but once she goes out in public and is like straight up with the sari and everything, and like,
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yeah.
So okay. Here's I think we all agree on that. But here's where I think it gets really complicated, right? So if we had a friend named Agatha, okay? And Agatha was like, I really love Afro-Dominican culture. And she was like obsessed with it and like wore all the clothes and like spoke in the accent to like her neighbors, right? And like was doing the dances and stuff like that. Would we consider that appropriation? Because that sounds like the same thing that Electric's mom's doing. But I think that would be viewed very differently.
Well,
Yeah, if Agatha
it depends.
Jacking their culture. I say yes. I vote yes. What do you say, Electric?
It depends. Did she just moved to the neighborhood yesterday? Yeah, it's now that you put it in that perspective, I'm thinking about it because I'm like, my mom just watched a few movies, but then like when she's at home, she starts doing the dances and all that stuff. But she doesn't go outside telling people that she's Indian, or maybe she does, and I don't know that she does. Yeah, I wouldn't put it past her, honestly.
If she does, she has an excuse, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, but with Agatha, you know what? No, if I think about it, I think for it to be appropriation, you have to be foreign to it. If you grew up in that environment, it's not appropriation. Your culture. It's culture to you.
Yeah. So the white person that grew up in Detroit that talks with the blacks,
Yes.
and he says the N-word left and right, and he's like, this is who I am, and I might as well. And he like for real believes he's basically black. Is that appropriation?
If he grew up in it, he's in the culture. That like I
see my great granddaddy might have been black.
See, here's the deal. Here's why I say it. Because if he grew up in it, he doesn't know anything else. It's like you. If I placed you at birth in Mexico,
of course,
you'd start speaking Spanish. You'd speak it the way they speak Spanish in Mexico, and then I bring you over to Dominican Republic. They're gonna look at you and be like, "Wait, he can be Dominican," but then you start speaking, they're like, "No, he's Mexican." So that's a Mexican accent. How'd you get that accent?
So here's the thing, right? I'm not assigning any blame toward that person. They are a product of that environment. I get that. But what I said to Brent earlier was like, oh, he recognized that he's a guest in this house. That he, even though he is basically has brought Dominican Republic, the country, into his life, and it is now a part of him, he still and will always be a guest. The person that was raised in 8 Mile, right? Or the person that was raised in the Southwest, they still white. They're not black. They're raised that way. Nobody's probably gonna fault them for talking that way, whatever. But at the end of the day, they're not of that culture. So it's like, I think that culture. So I never talk about my definition, and it's tricky because I think cultural appropriation has to do everything with what you said. Is it about taking the culture as your own, right? To me, it's like two parts. It's number one, using the culture for your own benefit, because I can't think you can use the culture to your own benefit and do it homage in the same amounts. So people can pay homage to a culture and obviously get paid for it, but you can't do it in the same amount, right? And then the other part is like membership to the culture and and your membership to its adjacent cultures, right? So it's a lot easier for Brent to put on his Dominican accent when he speaks Spanish than for someone else who's not adjacent to the culture to do it. If a person started appreciating African culture from Korea, for example, and made a whole song about it and was shaking and twerking, and that would be viewed very differently than when Beyonce makes a song that has Caribbean origins, right? So I think it's like, are you a guest in this house? Yes, Beyonce's not Caribbean for all I know. She's a guest in the house, but she does stay in the same apartment complex, right? She lives on the same street, as opposed to someone completely away from your neighborhood coming in saying, yo, O Block forever, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's different. So I think it has to do with proximity to the culture and also intent. And I think that's why Agatha being Jamaican versus your Dominican mom being Jamaican are the same thing, but will be viewed very, very differently.
My
I mean,
mom's Puerto Rican.
Go ahead.
Puerto Rican. Yeah, sorry. Oops. Don't come at me. Don't come at me, anybody. I'm an ignorant Southerner. Please leave me alone.
But she probably thinks she's Dominican sometimes too, so who knows? Well, she actually told me she was Dominican once. Yeah, I was like, no, you're not. You're Puerto Rican. I know my grandparents.
So you mentioned benefiting from the culture, and the first name that came to mind is Paul Wall, because Paul Wall
Knows this
is
place.
like, right? Exactly. Like he knows exactly what he's doing, and he's been accepted, but at the same time, he knows the line.
He knows not to abuse it. Now, when he was in high school, he was walking up to that line.
Yep. But that's
He
it.
got
He's
older, yeah.
clearly benefited from it.
Yeah, black wife.
Man has a whole career. Exactly.
Eminem,
And so
great example. He knows where that line is. He knows he's a guest in the house.
there's a
Chet Hanks, not so much.
oh
I'll let you know who Chet Hanks is.
Nope. First time I ever hear that name.
Tom Hanks' son. He is a personality. He speaks in a Caribbean patois accent. Oh gosh, he's awful. Yeah.
you know, it's funny. I immediately thought of his brother Colin Hanks, which
No, very different.
completely different,
Uh,
which just further at everything Chet Hanks. Yeah.
yeah, and he's one of those people that would like defend. No, I'm gonna say this word because they'll just defend it. Like, yo, just don't do it. Like, is it that important to do it? You know? So, and I think I stopped listening to Seraphim as much because it kind of felt dirty after a little bit, right? I did really like the whole Black Ballroom thing, but I think I just generally got out of my K-pop phase because it kind of got really weird how like this is straight up black music and no one's crediting the black artist for it or like even making reference to it and really very much distancing themselves. There have been artists that have like done collaborations with like black artists in America, but like black and like Filipino or black and like Korean or black and like mixed artists. But anyway, so I just kind of not been listening to K-pop as much. But we all saw a movie this weekend, last week. Are we ready to talk about this?
Wait, hold that thought. I have something real quick. I kind of want to play devil's advocate, right quick. So
Golden Horn.
we're talking about like Le Seraphim, taking black music. Now, how about we talk about everyone who takes on anime?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I wanted to touch on the opposite side too, so I'm glad you stopped. So let's talk about that first. What were you saying? Like elaborate.
Anime. He said everybody taking on anime.
Well, elaborate.
All right. So anime is anime Japanese?
The style of animation that we refer to as anime is largely considered Japanese.
Okay. So like, so it's all Japanese characters, but like at Comic-Con, you'll see Hispanics, whites, blacks, everyone is embracing and dressing up as anime characters.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But they're dressing up as characters. Like they're literally.
some people live that life. So I've been watching Mighty Mouse and this Street Beefs fighter. His name is Death Sentence. This dude swear he's a real life anime character.
I know who you're talking
And
about.
he's black. Yo, Death Sentence.
Black people love anime. and
Yes.
K-pop, by the way.
And
Yeah.
it's so funny because like, I grew up in a mix of black culture and Hispanic culture as well. And like when I see like a black dude really into anime, they're in their own culture. Like they're no longer in black culture. They're in another realm. What is that called? Where you get the circles and then like there's 3 circles and then like the 3 circles go in, they all kind of
ground.
a Venn diagram. There you go. Thank you. It's kind of like that. And it's like, I don't know. I like to see it. Like one of my boys, his name is Amir. He's one of those people. And I love seeing him. Like he's just such a free spirit and so into anime.
He tied himself into that world.
Anime people they're special people, man.
So I think that's a little different because it's just like that's a character. Just like we dress up for characters in movies, we're not dressing up as a culture. We're dressing up as a character. And yeah, weebs exist that love Japanese culture. And I do believe that there is lines that can be crossed with weeb culture and stuff like that. I was gonna say, because in that conversation, I was unless you want to say something real quick, Brent, about that, because I'm gonna slightly change it a little bit, but on the same chord.
Well, I think it's great that he brought up Japan as the example, because Japan has a history. Like historically, Japan would open up their borders, take in all these things from other cultures from around the world, and then close their borders off and make whatever they took in like Japanese. It's like, this is ours now, to the point where they have 3 different alphabets. There's hiragana,
Katakana,
kanji, the one that everybody knows and sees, and katakana. Katakana is specifically for foreign concepts and words, and it's things that they have taken and like they're making.
Japan like has that whole jacking culture thing kind of on lock. Like that's where the whole kawaii stuff came from. A lot of it was, I believe, had to do with like Reformation after World War II.
Yeah, so it's like if cultural appropriation
branding
was a culture.
I got a hot take.
All right, go ahead.
I'm all for Japanese people doing cultural appropriation simply because they make the shit look good when they do it. And I'm talking about fashion.
You know what?
I'm talking about like breakdancing. They're nasty with it. I also follow aggressive rollerblading. And these motherfuckers have the best style. Oh my God. They look so good skating. Like every trick they do, they make it look pitch perfect. And they got these little kids. Like the people from Japan are so good. The people from South Korea, they're also so good. And they make everything look fucking good, yo. And they'll have 8-year-olds like on a pro status level, like doing the craziest shit, like shit that I can't even do, and probably will never do at this point. I'm too old to be doing all that shit. But man, so that's my hot take.
It is that like they got a pass because they appropriated the hell out of it, right?
There's the thing about
like they made it Japanese, they made it Korean, but it's still like very much. Maybe it's a little bit more obvious in the Koreans, like Korean and K-pop. Very obvious, like where they got it from.
Yeah, there's the thing about Japanese musicians being famous for their technical ability to copy other styles of music, but the latest like development is that they're also starting to get like pocket, like the aspects that make that music authentic to its roots. They're starting to get that part down too.
Yep.
Whereas before it was like, oh yeah, like your jazz, it's technically perfect, but it doesn't have that sauce,
that soul,
that
funk.
Yeah, they don't have that soul, that funk. Yep. Now they're starting to get
figuring
that
out
part.
the formulations.
Yep, that little bit of syncopation and whatnot to put it. Yep, they're getting all of that, and props to them. They're doing it. They're doing it well, and I think kind of what Jason was saying, that the reason he's okay with it, and so many people do give them a pass, is because they do it well, and I think that is an aspect of appropriation where you can essentially not jump the shark, but like where it's like you did it so well that folks gave you a pass.
Yeah. Unplug your mic and plug it back in real quick. I think that's the fear, right? I think the fear is that you're gonna take something that I have, run with it, create something completely different, and then they'll forget like where it came from, and we don't get the shine and the credit and stuff for it. This is a side tangent real quick. When I was in Japan, I was listening to this artist named AI, right? And I listened to her, and she had that soul in her voice, and I'm like, yo, is she like, no, she can't be a product of a system or whatever. She kind of sounds like a little bit like Alicia Keys sometimes, but she has some soul in her that like you cannot copy. So I started doing some research. This woman was raised in Los Angeles and sung at a gospel choir on Crenshaw.
But there you go.
Okay, there it goes. Well, yeah, I think that's the fear, you know. The thing I was gonna say earlier was that Black people be appropriating shit out of cultures too, but we don't really look at it the same way because, like, we're Black. It's like, no, because, you know, bust around over there talking about Arab money and, like, you know, Thoya Thoing, which is just the worst, right? Like, there was like a period of time, like, I think, like, somewhere like in like sophomore year of high school, like, so it's college, like, let's say 2001 to 2003, where every single beat was like some Hindi remix or some Middle Eastern Farsi jam, and you had people talking about Arabs and all kinds of stuff. So it's like, I think maybe to have this conversation within our community, sometimes you turn a blind eye to the shit that we do, because sometimes we do it and we do it really bad.
And then also, while we're on the music, right? So you named Arab music, but if we go a little further back, you know, a lot of the rap music, they were talking about mafia stuff. So that's Italian, right? So
absolutely.
Yeah. And then
absolutely.
What was the other genre I was just thinking of? They were touching on another.
Jay-Z still imitating like mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard. Yeah, I mean, that's very obvious, Electric, but I never thought about that. Mm-hmm. It's like super obvious. Yeah.
And Big Pun did it too. And Big Pun's Puerto Rican.
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Big Pun would drop around bombs like no problem, and no one has an issue with it.
Hey, he said he's blacker than coal, bro. Well, he said people were swearing I'm blacker than coal, like Nat King.
Yeah, bro. Paul was wild. Paul was a wild boy, man.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the fear of that appropriation, we were going to talk about this topic earlier, but we saw this movie and we were like, yo, we got to talk about this now. We all saw Sinners. And just for anybody who has not seen it, spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Spoiler
off the episode now.
Turn it off. Watch it later. I had to stop watching Virgo season because I'm like, I don't want to spoil it.
Wait, is this the movie that I saw with you guys where the two of you were in tears at the end?
Yep.
Okay.
He just wants to say that.
Oh, I have no shame, man. This is the second time Ryan Coogler got me. Ryan Coogler has gotten me twice.
So I saw the movie twice. I saw the movie twice, and I don't see movies twice. Part of the reason I saw it twice, but not the reason I saw it twice, is because I accidentally took my keys and had to go pick up my kids like right when the preview started. So I thought I missed about half of it. Apparently, I didn't really miss much. But there was a scene where Preacher Boy is doing his song, and they talk about how the music is evoking spirits and stuff from past, present, and future. And it goes through this just wonderful single shot of just the branches on Black music as it started from like the countries of origin in Africa. And it was this very beautiful and serene moment to me. And I just started like getting really teared up. And I don't have an issue with crying. If I need to cry, I'll cry. But I didn't cry, but I was like, what is happening? And it stuck with me to figure out why the hell I felt this way. When I watched it the second time, if I cry like at level 1 during a movie, the next time I see it, I'll cry at like level 5. It always gets more intense each time. And I was crying, I was like, yo, I get it. Like, I'm really big on understanding like different cosmologies and understanding like where we came from and stuff like that, and like how people grapple with their reality and like the human experience and stuff like that. And the one thing that has always transcended everything, political lines, racial lines, cultural lines, ethnic lines, has been music, because it speaks everywhere. And that was like a very singular example of that happening, and this type of music that we oftentimes get shat on for as being ratchet, as being too ghetto, as being not proper and stuff like that. It's always something that touches everybody, regardless of where you're from. A lot of people don't want to admit it. And I realized that, yo, this dude is trying to take this music from these people so he can get what he wants out of it, which means he can like raise the spirits and, you know, the memories of the people that he's lost. And I'm like, yo, this movie is about corporal appropriation. And it just hit me really hard that it made me understand why I was feeling the way I was feeling, because I really didn't expect that. I didn't know what this movie was about at all. I knew Michael B. Jordan was in it. I knew it was called Sinners, and I saw him shooting a gun. Those are 3 things I knew about the show moving in. So I was kind of hit really, really hard. But like, what got you?
For me, it was that same scene you just spoke about. That scene had me like I was tearing up during that scene, and it was the buildup and the sound and just seeing like how everybody was entranced in the music. But sonically, like I just loved what they did with it. And Preacher Boy, like I remember asking you guys at the end of the movie, I was like, is this guy an actor or is he like a music artist that I don't know about? Because I thought he did a phenomenal. I loved his voice, even his speaking voice. He's a what?
I said I don't know either, but clearly he's a musical artist.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
And what I'm not a singer. Maybe Brick can attest to this too. But like that man, more than likely, he don't walk around talking like that
with that deep voice.
So he don't walk around talking like that. So for him to be able to sing that damn good and an accent that don't even belong to him, and still sound like that, that's just even more impressive.
Wait, hold on. Is the actor that plays Preacher Boy, is he like some guy from London or the UK?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought that's what you were saying. Because there's a lot of like
people with that accent.
There's a lot of actors that are from the UK and they come in with these American accents, and then later on I see an interview, I'm like, oh, I did not know this guy was British or this guy was Irish, like, but they had like a spot on American
Airways.
Okay.
Brooklyn.
Miles Keaton. Baton.
He been in the game for a minute, apparently.
Yeah. But he's a actor and singer. Yep.
That's something.
Yeah, he put out an album.
Looks like he started singing.
He
was trying. The industry is not on point right now.
That's because he never met Diddy. If he would have met Diddy.
No,
Oh
no, we're not doing.
Nope.
There will be a Diddy episode. We're not doing.
Yep. And to that point,
about Diddy is gonna just get way crazy in a couple of weeks. So just hold on that one.
I'm just save it for that episode, because even as a joke, a better joke would be that he shelved forever because everybody got signed to Bad Boy or puts out anything. Anyway,
It was phenomenal. The movie's phenomenal. It's like there's so many levels of layers to it. It's like my favorite scene, which is in my opinion the best scene in the movie, was, aside from the Sammy song, was when Cornbread was trying to come inside the house. And that was the greatest scene, because
and look how much time they gave it.
Yes.
Like, good scene.
Yes.
It was such a good scene, because
They didn't put it and edit it down. They gave that a lot of time, and it was
so because I
accurate.
came in late the first time I saw it. I didn't see when the white folks turned the Klan members. I didn't see that. So when they approached the place, I'm like, hey, can we just come in real quick? I was looking at it, and the electric pointed this out. I was looking at it from the eyes of the people that were in the juke joint. And I was like, why do they want to come in here? Like, I'm like, oh, they're probably Klans people, but like they came alone. And like, it's not like they'll go in there and then signal to like when everybody else should come. Because if they will have a posse to come and tear the place up, they would just do it. Like, it doesn't serve them any benefit to send scouts or anything like that. They're not armed. So like, what's the problem? But like, all of my black like sirens and spidey senses were just blaring like, yo, do not let them in. But a part of me was like, no, I mean, it's fine. They like music. They appreciate music. They're clearly musicians. Maybe they just, I don't know. Like, so I was really conflicted like a lot of people. But one thing I noticed is that once one sane brother was like, absolutely not. And he gave a reason, a good reason. Like, yo, we don't play that kind of music here. Y'all can go somewhere else. Everybody else was like, yep, no, we're good. And everybody else walked away because everybody else was feeling that. And then the lady who was on both sides of the aisle was the one, after everybody had made their peace and them folks not coming in, she was the one that went out to go see what's up. And when they rejected her, it was too late. And she brought that menace into the juke joint. And not only that, is when they were all having that standoff and they were like, yo, we just need to sit here and just chill. We need to sit here and chill. Let's stay together as a community. Let's protect ourselves, and let's just wait a couple hours till sundown. We're good. Let's stand as united front, right? The person who we let into the community, who wasn't really in the community like that. I'm talking about the Asian, right? because she was working at the store. She was working at the store on the white side of town, and the husband was working at the store on the black side of town. We let them in.
They were switch up.
Right? But if you look at how she was integrated with the people that she wasn't integrated like her husband, and this isn't like indicting Asians and so people don't come after them. I'm talking about this lady in particular, right? That she wasn't really with her community like that. Her husband was.
Right.
She put her own beliefs. Well, she's a mother, so like part of us can tap in and understand that a little bit, but she put her own beliefs over the safety of the entire community. And I was like, God, man, she let them in. I don't think her husband would have done the same thing. So it's like, it's very scary when you let people into your culture because you don't know if they're going to respect it the same way you would.
Yeah. It is strategically point of vulnerability. It has been. And I think one of the things that, it's not like the movie was subtle about its message and subtle about its choices, but it's also not like there aren't historical examples of all of these.
All of these, what you cut out.
All of these things, all of the choices that were made. So like we've seen that before where it's like, oh yeah, this person was killed because, they thought they could trust like this, that, and third, and like, to get your hands up in my pocket. And it's
it's the abused trust. It's abused trust.
Yeah. And to that point, there were things where like, we've seen so many times where, people are quick to try to be allies and be part of a culture. And it like, just like today where it's like always like, oh, they want to invite to the cookout. Right.
Mm-hmm.
The point where now we're finally getting, really want to come to this cookout. It's like, y'all got all the other cuisine at your disposal. And we just have our cookout. And to that point, we are finally getting to a place where we're like, hey, maybe we shouldn't let everybody at the cookout because it doesn't always benefit us. And,
that can't be the answer though, can it?
My thing is, I'm like, look, if we got all these allies, let the allies march.
Hey, I'm not against that.
Hey, where the allies at? Allies, you want to show how down you are for the cause? You go out there and you do the protesting. You do the we tired. You know what I mean? We have so many things where we have habitually been the backbone to march forward, the progress.
Shout out to Black women.
Right? Because our fight doesn't just benefit us, it benefits everybody.
The whole
in the movie where you see, yeah, you're right. But to his point where it's like, look, all we got to do is hold on for a couple hours, for a few hours, we're good. And we can sort everything else out. And yes, part of it is also just movies. Like, if you ever had like a real actual black movie where it's like, hey, all the black folks did black stuff, wouldn't be no conflict. Or like,
that's what that scene was, bro.
Yeah. Like, it just
shut up.
Yo, they were like, no. Because if you don't have that character do that, then we all chill, we play some spades, and then the sun comes up, movie done. Right.
Wait, when you were talking about the cookout, it reminded me of this weatherman. It was around the time during COVID. This weatherman kind of got popular on social media because he would do all these dances, like, a lot of hope dances.
Dan, what's his name? Yeah.
Yeah, I could not stand his guts, bro. I can't. For me, that is the definition of appropriation. I don't know why. Because he was getting so much clout off of it. And then I would read the comments and they're like, he's invited to the barbecue. For some reason, I'm like, I feel like he would have been the lady that was like, come on in, motherfuckers.
Dan Thorne, that's his name. Dan Thorne's the man, dude. What's wrong? Listen, that don't give you. Listen, in my opinion, that don't give you an invite.
Nope.
It don't. Listen, I will.
I used to see him, and he would like. I don't know why. I would see it, and I'd be like, "What the fuck he think he's doing, yo?" Like, and everybody's eating it up, and I'm like, "Yo, what's going on?" Like,
because
really?
He's having fun. He's having fun in a place where lots of people are being so serious at a time where everybody needs to just let loose and have a little bit of fun. Dan Thorne, you the man. I will reserve the illest plate. Where they at?
Defined like official live levels to this, where it's like, yes, there's the cookout. There's folks outside the cookout. There's folks who get a plate from the cookout, and then there's folks who actually get an invite to the cookout. All skin folk ain't kin folk, so not even all the skin folk getting an invite to the cookout.
And then his anchor was trying to be all serious, and she was like, he was annoying her. was great.
Well, that's just funny. But I have no idea who you're talking about.
I don't see the appeal in it, but there's people that do. But for me, I felt it was cringe. Like I would see it and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like everybody's vibing. Oh shit, dude, this is weird.
It is cringe because you listen. Someone said, and it was Israel Adesanya. He said that cringe is just a word for somebody having the balls to do some shit that you won't do.
No.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. No,
I think that's a pretty accurate definition.
Oh yeah, so like when there's a 58-year-old guy hitting on a 16-year-old girl, that's not cringe. That's having balls.
Fuck, that's effing disgusting. That's not cringe.
That's not
It could be
cringe.
both.
It could be both.
Cringe,
But you described someone having the balls to do something that you wouldn't do. That's courage. That's not cringe.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, your courage can make you do some cringy stuff, but it's not.
Cringe and courage are not synonymous. But
Exactly.
a person is doing something cringe. So for the way I define cringe is not illegal, right? Cringe is not unacceptable. It's just like embarrassing, right? It's like, oh, that's a little embarrassing. How dare you come here wearing that? That's so cringe. It's like, no, when you're comfortable in yourself to do something,
What should be embarrassing?
That's it should be according to who. When you're comfortable with yourself to do something that other people would consider cringe, that's you being comfortable. The people who are the most cringe, in my opinion, are people who are very comfortable with who they are and doing what they're doing. The old man hitting on a little girl, that's not cringe. That's disgusting. That's a completely different thing.
Anyway, so there are things where it's just something that is embarrassing, or in something that should be embarrassing. The person doesn't have the social awareness to be embarrassed. And that's different. So there are things that are cringe that are not just courageous.
Like what? Yeah, if you don't have the social awareness, then yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Going back to the movie though, there are other aspects of it that I really wanted to call out. And one of those is that, yes, you mentioned the music and the scene where they did the past, present, and future. And for me, when music hits just right, I get literal goose. Oh, yeah. And sometimes I shed a tear. So, and it's part of that is someone living in their talent. Like Miles, Sammy, character Sammy, singing the way he was singing, like hitting his, I do believe there is a connection. The same way that you hear it all the time where the singers are like, look, I don't know, I just blacked out. To me, there's a divine connection there. This talent is just pouring through you as a vessel. And so I love seeing moments where you can see that happening. And then also, speaking of talent, I love the fact that in the movie, the old version of Sammy is played by Buddy Guy, who actually is a very, very famous blues musician. I love the fact that, for all we know, this might be the last time we see Buddy Guy on screen and getting shine, as this character, but still as a venerated blues musician. Like, for those who don't know, Buddy Guy is a famous blues musician, to the point where Jimi Hendrix cites Buddy Guy as one of his guitar.
Wow.
Yeah, like Buddy Guy is that dude. So it was great so that y'all saw me crying. That's really what had me bawling, is the fact that this man is getting his flowers while he's still alive. I mean, like, it wasn't like legit like, hey, look at Buddy Guy, but it, So it was cool that he got to play this, blues musician.
In a very long scene, mind you.
Yeah, exactly.
That wasn't a throwaway. People who left that movie early missed quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a long mid-credit scene.
Yeah, so make sure y'all stay for the Easter eggs. So
yeah, he's 88 years old now. He's going to turn 89 in July.
That's nothing to scoff at, bro. That's nothing.
And I love that there are going to be so many people that start listening to his music now, that start, really getting into blues, and will use him as a stepping stone to their discovery of this music. Because the more you listen to blues, you're going to hear its influence on rock. So it's funny to me that we were talking about Koreans saying keep K-pop Korean when it, clearly is stealing 90s R&B. Because in America, that happened with rock music. You had rock music fans being like, oh, like, well, why are these, why is this band In Living Color playing rock music, like they're a black band, and it's but they didn't know the
Run
history.
DMC sampled
This music, right?
Walk This Way. People lost their minds. Like, why are they sampling this rock song?
Right. It's like you know where this music came from, right? So when you listen to blues, you're going to hear why the Led Zeppelins, the Rolling Stones, you know, all of their guitarists are like,
That
yeah,
guitar work
I
is
listen
nasty, bro. It's nasty.
yeah, like, oh yeah, I listen to, you know, Muddy Waters. I listen to Alan Wolf, like all these famous blues musicians, because like, yeah, like there's even in music theory, when you're first learning music theory, they teach you what is called the blues scale, and it's a very specific scale of music upon which so much of modern music is built. Yeah, so I love that. I love that Buddy Guy is going to be that lightning. You know,
That's awesome.
you know, so that's what had me in tears. At the end there.
Every few years, I go through like a 2-month long like blues kick, where I just listen to a bunch of blues, and like this movie has definitely reminded me that I'm very far overdue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. To that point, if you want to hear blues in the style of what Sammy was playing, go listen to Robert Johnson. It's like he was that dude back then who was playing that style, like probably one of the first big blues artists to like really, you know, become a household name.
Nah, forget that. Look, you saying that he was the lightning rod? You're a lightning rod. Give us a list of people that we can check out if we appreciate a short list brand.
Yeah. You see, you saw
you saw me. Well, nope. Short list. You can think of a guy like Clava 6 to start.
Yeah.
Where do we
I mean,
start?
just the people I've already
Johnson,
mentioned. Right
Buddy
there.
Guy. Who else?
Robert Johnson, Buddy Guy, hit BB King, hit Muddy Waters, hit Howling Wolf, and then also like the like Chess Records and like those labels that would sign blues artists. Oh my gosh, there's so much.
I like Freddie King. Do you know who that is?
Yeah, the name. Yeah, why do I know that?
Freddie King was like my dude from my last little blues kick.
You know, part of the message within the movie is also the hecting that thing you create, that thing that's yours. And so their juke joint was their refuge.
He said, for us, by
Like,
us.
literally their refuge. And it's like, you know, once you start letting folks in, it's very easy for it to be taken from you, to not be yours anymore. Is this with blues, jazz, rock, hip hop, R&B? Like, and we see it all the time. Every time we make something, even just our slang. You know, I remember the day Bling Bling died, because I was watching the news. Some newscaster said, "Oh, look at this guy's chain, Bling Bling." I was like, "Well,
Yep, dead."
and with that one, and it's funny because even with the slang now, the way we're so interconnected, or we could even spread the slang all around each other, it's already like left the community. And granted, I wish we could do that with our dollars, like spread our dollars around the community before it leaves. That's a whole nother topic for another day.
You know what? This is hard, and the type of person I am, this movie really pointed something out to me, because I did want to let the guy in, right? Again, not knowing that he was a vampire or whatever, because I saw half the movie. I was like, first of all, it's a movie, so I know we shouldn't, right? But like, a part of me was like, why shouldn't we, right? But it's also funny because I'm also I'm also very aggressively defensive over stuff like this, and like in my personal life, like, no, because of history and not trusting. But I do believe that we are the best when we work together, simulate kumbaya, all that stuff, right? I think that that's true, and I think most people agree with that too. But it's just that we also get abused so much when we do that it's a very scary proposition. Like, I'm from Nigeria. It's in West Africa, for those of y'all don't know. Might have heard it a couple times before. It's a very, I don't know. I don't know how to bridge what I'm trying to say. And it just makes me think a lot. And I do know that as a people, we have to kind of like defend and make sure that invites to the cookout are given out appropriately. I don't think that separatism and just shutting out the cookout altogether is a solution, but just handing them shits out to everybody is not a solution. And it just reminded me of that.
Yeah. I mean, to that point, like, there's so many advances through civil rights that were strongly pushed forward because of allies. And all I'm saying is, hey, allies, go ahead, get to work again.
I will
say,
cheer on like the best cheerleader ever.
Ooh, you will get all the applause and praise. I will make sure that plate is ready for you.
Hot.
I will say one more thing. Black folks in horror movies, even if I didn't see the setup, I would have been the same way you were, like, don't let him in. And same thing when Cornbread's trying to get in, it's like, you kind of want to know.
Beautiful.
Like,
that scene was beautiful.
like,
he said, to be kind. I was like, hell no, nope.
Nope.
Said no in history. No.
I ain't letting nobody in for the next year. All right.
I like that they let that scene breathe.
That scene was so
man.
good. I just
You
love the
really
awkward feeling and the uneasiness that sat over so much of the movie. Just uneasiness that sat over so much of the movie.
Yep.
What
Coincidentally,
I really appreciated,
just been having that thought too. Like, yo, if somebody came to my door begging for help, I'm like, I let them in, like, because to me, this could very easily be a setup for me to get got. And then I watched this movie.
I'm like, yo, I'm real quick, Jay, but we lived in an apartment complex, and when you talk about things that you like forget and like remove from your mind, this is one of them. When I was younger, we lived in an apartment complex, and one night, it was a pretty crazy night, but one night, it was late, probably around 9 or 10 from when I was little, so I don't remember this story like in its entirety, but somebody started knocking on our door who was shot up, and he was like asking to be let in, and my parents were like, no, it's like, please help me. And all I remember is this guy was making a lot of noise, and then he wasn't making any noise at all, and the ambulance came. And it wasn't until I was older to realize that this dude more than likely just died at our doorstep. I think within a couple of weeks we were gone, and we were moved into a new apartment complex. So like being in that situation where it's like, yo, somebody needs some help, or somebody just wants to get in, and you want to be the good Samaritan Christian or whatever, but nah, man. Like that's something that like literally my folks had to deal with. And I probably do. I mean, I do the same thing too, because I know who's in this house, and I know who needs to stay and remain in this house. You know,
exactly. Yeah, your parents probably saved all y'all's lives.
Bro, I should have scared. I was scared as hell, and I didn't remember it. Like one day, I was like, "Hey, hold on, did that happen?" I called my brother up, and he was like, "Oh snap, that did happen." And I called my sister up, and she even forget about it. She was like, "Yup, yeah, it's crazy." Yeah, sorry about that. Like, what were you saying, bro?
I don't even remember.
Oh. But to that point, this movie played on those, you know.
Yeah.
I have a question for us, right?
Okay.
So, can you guys ever think of a time that you were probably appropriating on another culture yourselves?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think everyone does it. I don't think anybody's
not in recent times. I have a small story, but let Brent.
I lived in the Japanese house in my 3rd year. So
that's not appropriation.
Hey, I mean, honestly, I did it because they pretty much kick you out your 3rd year. So it's like, oh, I'm not trying to go to
that's right.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, yeah, I gotta live in a house. So let me live in the Japanese house and adopt some Japanese culture real quick.
So what did you adapt? Like taking off your shoes when you go into the house? Is that something you learned from there, or?
No, I learned that from my Indian homie.
Okay.
Lasu the Great taught me that. He was like, yo, you went into that room, you really want to track that in your house? I was like, nope. Ever since that day.
Sold.
Shoes off.
When I was cornering MMA, we had shows at Ryzen, which is in Japan, and I would go to Japan frequently. And I used to make like walkout shirts for my fighters and stuff like that. I do graphic design. And some of my fighters were like, yo, I want some Japanese shit. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I would like make some dope designs. And I was like, skirt, hold on real quick. Is this messed up? Because when you go to Japan, they love appropriating our letters as much as we do theirs. You'll see a shirt that says like effect or like polish, and like they don't know what it means. It just looks cool. It looks cool to them. Like their lettering looks cool to us. So I had a homegirl who was named Maggie. She's Megumi. And she was a good friend of mine, or she was a friend of mine, and she was fluent in Japanese. So I would be like, yo, I would kind of forward stuff to her to be like, is this messed up? Now, you know, unfortunately, I was like making her queen of all Japanese people. You know what I'm saying? But like, I didn't know how to do better due diligence than like go on Google Translate or something. So I was like always very nervous about that. Now, I did learn at one point in time that like, yeah, it didn't really make as much sense as I thought it did. Like the culture around that kind of stuff was, they didn't really care, and they're actually pretty accepting about like you like biting their culture. They're like, I think it's kind of cool, you know. I think there obviously is a certain line, but I felt very awkward about it, and I had to like do a lot of work to feel okay about it, but I still didn't feel very great about it. But when they said it's fine, I said, okay, cool. I have a pass like within this particular martial arts community. So just call it a day.
Yeah, no, I can't think of a time I've appropriated other cultures. I've never done that. I'm amazing. I'm perfect. Thank you very much.
When he found out he was from Nigeria and Gabon, he started like piercing his nose and stuff like that.
I'll box your ear.
Anyway,
Of the dupas.
yeah, I think just be aware.
My whole
If
intro.
you're aware of yourself and your culture and other people's culture, I think like what I did is an okay example of like, yo, just try to learn as much, because it's not only important to know when you're appropriating, but when you might be doing it. You don't need to know where the line is, but know that like I'm not far away from the line, so let me just fall back and try to like at least try to not do it. And if there's an effort there, that's all that counts. Because if you do cross that line and step over that line, and someone says, yo, you stepped over the line, you're much more likely to say, oh, you know what? My bad. As opposed to, nah, well, I can't say the N word, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's also like things where stuff has just been so appropriated over time, you don't even know what it is, like the history of it. So like, and this is a bad example, but like, you know, one of my coworkers does want to, you know what, you're right. You know what, you're right. You know what? I'm just leave it there. I'm just.
Now you got the listeners wondering what story you're gonna tell.
Spade was a term for black folk at one point, but
hey, Jesus, did not know that. I thought it was a garden tool.
Yeah, it was also that.
I thought this was a symbol on the car.
When you hear the term to call a spade, right? Yeah. But
That's not about
the term to
cards?
call a spade. It actually is not racial, and I convinced my coworker it is, and I'm sorry. But
Oh no! Did you weaponize their white guilt? Oh no!
Yep.
Yo.
The original use of that phrase was just talking about, you know, a tool, like a bowl and whatnot. And throughout the 60s and 70s, yes, you will even see it in movies like, well, it's called a spade. It's like, you're not talking about a tool. And so, yeah, but it was one of those things where it's like, hey, just so you know, be careful.
Just be careful. If you respect other people's culture and you're really trying to like pay other people's culture, just like Rebel just fell back right now from not giving a bad example. Sometimes you got to fall back by not putting that thing on, or by not saying that word, or by not engaging in that dance, or by not standing up and defending a certain people who didn't ask you to defend them. You know, maybe we just have to be a little more self-aware and self-aware of like what we need to do, especially if you care about if you care about a culture, you should care enough not to appropriate it. Whatever.
Maybe your Cinco de Mayo celebration isn't what you think it is.
You can go out on May 4th. I mean, May 5th. Just go drink. That's it.
Hey, you know,
Is that the same for St. Patrick's Day?
Yeah, if you want to go for St. Patrick's Day, go get a green beer and just drink it. You don't got to be like top of the morning to you and stuff, you know? Just go drink. Don't be weird.
There's so many more holidays coming up.
You want to close this out, Brent? I mean, Rebel?
Doesn't matter. Right.
All right, we got
Ladies and gentlemen, come on.
Okay, so you have to equally do the opposite when you close it out. Hey, I'll close it out. All right, guys, let's close this out. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's difficult, bro.
Closing out
like
in
2 more
3,
times, or we're gonna strip you from that.
2, 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the HLS podcast. To that point, late to the party, Radical Teddy and friends, impending. I'm the Rebel Alliance.
This is Electric Thunder.
Swolas.
I see. You can't see me.
I'm Scrotawilla.
This is Electric Thunder.
And this is Scrotawilla.
We thank you all for listening.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I just want to hear what you all think about cultural appropriation, or what you thought about the movie Sinners. Either is fine for me.
Bet.
Ciao. Take care and don't let nobody in.
I like that one.
Uzondu miri